Welcome to the Big 12 Deep Dive Podcast. If you've watched us before, welcome back to the Big 12 Deep Dive Podcast. Today we're going to be talking about Iowa State basketball. We're taking a little bit of a break from football just for this episode. We're not going to waste any time. Let's get into it. And I am really excited for basketball season to start, especially just in the Big 12 in general. Me, obviously, being an Iowa State fan, I'm a little bit more excited for that to be back. We're starting the season at 16th, and I believe in the Big 12 we had 6 teams total ranked. Baylor and Cincinnati looking inward to being ranked pretty quick, I would imagine, possibly in the receiving votes category already, which is not surprising. I mean, Big 12, obviously, by far, definitely the best conference, but the Big East, I mean, I'm not knocking on the Big 12, but the Big East, they got some really solid teams this year too. Iowa State, like I said, starting 16th in the year. I'm really excited to see who's going to be filling like Curtis Jones' spot as well as Keyshawn Gilbert. I've heard a lot about Milan Momcilovic. Obviously, he's been here for several years, so we know how he plays. But it sounds like TJ was saying he's going to just let him, kind of like Curtis Jones last year, where he just kind of let him shoot wherever and whenever he wanted to, which makes me think back to Milan's freshman year. And it was a game at Baylor, and he knocked in a half-court shot at the very end of the game, but they said he was like half a second too late. Otherwise, we would have won. I think we would have won like 73-72 or something like that. It sounds like Milan is averaging, I think, TJ, this was a while ago, but he said like north of 19 or 18 points, one of the two, with 4 threes. So it's pretty solid because I think that's the thing with Milan that we've been struggling to see with him over the past 2 years is his consistency his consistency with shooting the ball and doing that every single game. Because obviously there would be games where he would absolutely go off. But it'll be very interesting to see what he does this year. Jamarian Bateman is another name, too, that keeps on getting brought up as well. I would assume he would probably be also getting a starting position. Not 100% sure, though, so don't quote me on that. At least with Taman being out, as we know, for a little bit. Possibly Jamarian Bateman steps into that role, or Kilian Torre. Hopefully I'm pronouncing both those names right. I think that I am. But no, I'm really excited to see what this team's got this year. I think our game against Mississippi State, November 10th, is going to be a really kind of eye-opening feel to how this team actually functions, even without Taman Lipsey. We know how Taman plays. We know what Taman brings to the table. So, and I think also, too, like early on in the year when we're playing these, lower-level games, it will be really nice to see how these newer guys to our team kind of mesh together and play with each other. But no, I'm really excited. I'm really scared to play Purdue at Purdue because that's going to be a crazy game. I doubt we will have Taman back for that. Let's see, because that game's December 6th. I mean, we could. I thought I heard he was going to be out for all of non-conference, so I guess we'll just kind of have to see. I've also heard a lot about Dominicus, I think is how you pronounce his first name, Pleta. Sounds like he's going to be pretty solid as well. And then your returners, guys like Nate Heisey, Joshua Jefferson is obviously going to be a huge role as well. Sounds like Cade Kelderman is also going to be getting more minutes this year as well. Definitely a fan favorite from last year when he got in, when I believe, we had Curtis and Taman out at one time. Or maybe it was Curtis and Keyshawn. I don't know. We had 2 of our guards out at one time, and that's when Cade started to get more minutes. Or maybe that was just when Taman was out and Cade started to get more minutes. But no, I've heard lots of good things. Xavier Mitchell, I've heard some things about him, good things about him. Blake Buchanan, heard some great things about him as well. So, I mean, it sounds like we're going to be kind of right back where we left off from last year, at least the way that it sounds right now. But no, I'm really interested to see how this team actually plays, how they mesh together. Again, compared from last year and then losing, obviously Keyshawn and Curtis. And then as well, like our big play, who is it really going to be? Is it going to be that Virginia transfer? I just have the roster pulled up, so I don't remember his name. I think it's Buchanan, though. And then Pletta, is it going to be, those two guys? Joshua Jefferson, it sounds like he's been working on his shot a lot, which is good to hear. Because again, he's another guy that was, maybe just not as consistent as we wanted to see from him last year. But no, I'm really excited to see what these teams got. We're going to go over the schedule a little bit. They just released the tip-off times as well as TV times or TV channels. I'm not going to lie, there's something that I really do not like about this, and I'm going to get to it, but this is kind of just a personal preference. But I will eventually get to it once we go through the schedule. This Friday, we actually have a scrimmage at Creighton, or exhibition, whatever you want to call it. But we have an exhibition at Creighton, who's ranked 23rd. So very excited to watch that. I believe that's just going to be on the Creighton website if you guys want to watch it. And then October 26th, so Sunday, we will play Northwestern at Ames. That one's going to be on ESPN Plus, it looks like. So, and those are two. Obviously, Creighton's ranked. They're ranked 23rd. And Northwestern, they're a pretty solid team. I know they have one elite player I know of. I cannot think of his name, though, but I know that they have one really, really good player. So that'll be, again, something to watch out for. But no, to open up your season, you got FDU, Farley Dickinson, who actually beat Purdue in the tournament. Or was it Virginia? No, it was Purdue, I think. Like 2 years ago or 3 years ago, something like that. Then you got Grambling State at home. That's November 3rd, November 6th. Then you got Mississippi State at 7 o'clock in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. And Mississippi State, I think for the last couple of years, if I remember right, I know we've played them a few times over the last 10, 15 years, and they're usually a pretty solid team, so that'll be a really interesting game. Then you come back home to play Stonehill. Should be an easy win. And then you got to go to the Player Era Men's Championship, which this is a really crazy tournament. I'll be very excited to see how we do in this because we open up against St. John's and then we play Creighton again in this tournament. Maybe Taman Lipsy by then, maybe not. Personally, my personal preference with Taman is if he's good to go, obviously suit him up, but if you're still kind of on that, you're kind of in between line, I personally would just wait off as long as you can until conference play comes around, of course, because we all know how physical Big 12 basketball is. But yeah, that tournament's going to be really interesting to see how we do there. Obviously opening it up against St. John's, who I believe is ranked number 5 to start the year. And then Creighton, of course, who will probably be ranked more than likely by the time that we play them again. So that's a huge opportunity to be in this tournament. And it definitely is a resume builder by the time that March Madness rolls around for sure. So then you come back home to play Alcorn State, and then you go to Purdue, which is on CBS, which is amazing. I love that. That's on December 6th, Saturday at 11 a.m., which is the same time as the Big 12 championship game for football. So we'll see. I don't think Iowa State's going to make it anymore, but who knows? We could turn it around all of a sudden and go undefeated the rest of the way. Then you play Iowa at home. It's good that it's at home and I would not like to play back-to-back games even against Iowa. I don't think Iowa's going to be as good as people thought, though. And I've been saying this to myself because I didn't start this podcast until about 2 weeks ago. But I've been saying, Iowa, and this is not a knock on their program. Obviously, I'm an Iowa State fan, so I don't like them. But Bennett Sturts and Ben McCollum, I think they're elite level. I think Ben McCollum is a great coach. I think Bennett Sturts is a great player. But they did it at Drake, but they haven't done it at a Power 4, Power 5 conference level yet. So I think that's kind of where I'm at right now with playing against Iowa. And they also just lost 99-74 against St. Louis in a scrimmage. So that's just kind of where I'm at with them. I think for them it's going to be, okay, you have great players, you have a great coach, but you still have to prove it. That's kind of how I see Iowa right now. Again, I think they definitely could be really good in a few years, but right now it's like you're kind of still in the prove it stage because you haven't even played a game. Well, I guess you have played a game and you lost by 27 points, or 25 points. So yeah, and then we got our 3-game stretch of what should be pretty easy games against Eastern Illinois, Long Beach State, and Houston Christian. And then you open up conference play at home against West Virginia, and then at Baylor. And this is what I don't like, is it's on Peacock. I'm going to be honest with you. I got Peacock a few weeks ago because I was going to watch a game on there for college football. We have 3 games on Peacock, and it's the most confusing thing ever. I'm sorry, Peacock, if someone who's watching this has Peacock. If you could enlighten me on how to use it, I would greatly appreciate that because I don't know how to use it. I know that might sound really dumb, but I use Hulu is the one that I typically use. I kind of sometimes will, go to a different one if there's a certain event on that I want to watch, but I don't like that. I'm going to be honest. Like, if more of our games were on Peacock, that'd be a little bit different, but that's the other thing too. Like, we have 3 games on Peacock, so will I be buying Peacock again for 3 months? Unfortunately, yes. But I don't like that 3 of our games are on Peacock because it's like, I don't know. To me, it's at the same time, it's like, that's not really enough to buy that subscription if we're just going to have 3 games. So, but yeah, 3 games on Peacock. But anyways, after you go to Baylor, you play Oklahoma State at home, and then at Kansas, which is going to be really tough. That's on a Tuesday night. So that place is going to be packed, I guess, either way. And then at Cincinnati, which is going to be very, very tough. Home against UCF should win that. At Oklahoma State should win that game. Home against Colorado should win that. At Kansas State, we're February 1st. That'll be a little bit tricky, I think. I think K-State's going to be a better team this year. A more consistent team this year, I should say. And then you get Baylor at home. And then February 10th, you go to Fort Worth to play TCU. And then this is really, really, I absolutely love this that we get these games back to back. I know this is going to suck for the players because these are going to be the most physical games of the year. But you get Kansas at home, February 14th, which is a Saturday, which is on ABC. Love that. And then you get Houston also at home, February 16th, which is a Monday. So I as a fan love this because I get to see us play 2 really, really good teams in what should be, top 10 or at least top 25 matchups. But also I'm kind of just like, this is going to suck for the players because like I said, those are really physical games. And then to even add on to that, you get a 5-day rest and then you have to go to Utah to play BYU. So that's going to be really tough. Then you got Utah, Texas Tech at home, which is going to be an amazing game. At Arizona, which is going to suck. Arizona State. I don't know if you guys can hear this, but my room is not soundproof and it's raining right now. So I will try to edit the rain out. But if I don't, I apologize, which I don't really have too much else that I'm going to be talking about anyways. But yeah, no, I look for Iowa State to, like I said, pick up where they left off last year in basketball. I think I read a stat on Twitter or X, whatever it's called. We are favored in 12 of 18 Big 12 games. If we could go 12-6 in the conference, that would be unbelievable. I cannot even remember what we finished last year. But I know we finished pretty solid in the conference. I know we finished very, very good in the Big 12 conference. I should be able to go back on this thing. Okay. 13-7. So yeah, and we're cutting it back. I know 2 games as well, which I don't love necessarily, but I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do. So, but yeah, that is all we have time for in this one. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed it. I will be back. I'm either going to make a separate video about BYU and Utah football this week, or I'll just have it all in the Friday episode with all the pick'ems for football. But yeah, that's it for this one. Hope you guys come back for the next one, and I will see you guys soon. Peace out.
Thanks for listening to the Big 12 Deep Dive, the podcast where we break down everything Big 12 football and basketball.